So after I make the slab, I compress it so it's, you know, all the molecules are lined up.
I'm not gonna do this anyway.
I compress it on both sides. There's like a little crack, I get rid of it. And then I lay it over the hump, okay? I usually start standing up and I just kind of work my way around. A lot of people have done this before, right?
Oops, you're blocking
Whoops, I blocked the camera. And I get it to kind of stick down.
Yep.
Do you have the speaker on?
I don't know.
It might be a silent video. I don't know. Okay, so when it seems like it's attached and there's not air under here, pretty connected. Okay, then I just kind of, let's see how we go. While I'm sort of smoothing it out and connecting it, I always keep one hand near the bottom because it's like a flying saucer. It wants to lift up and fly away. So like the other hand is down here. And I just like smooth it all out. I have the hump mold on the Gifford grip.
Is the wheel spin?
I'm trained in Japan originally. We go this way. I can throw the other way, but this is my better way. Anyway, so I get it all smooth. Sometimes I'll like get myself a foot going. So I can throw a little foot here, which is good. Sometimes I'll add, if I want a high one, I'll add a bigger foot at this point while it's upside down. But I'm not going to make a fancy foot, but you can throw a pretty decent foot on here. And also you have to think about like, what do you want this to look like right side up? Like, do I want it to have like a sharp corner here or be more gradual? And I'm going to take some more clay off that corner and push it into the foot. Okay, then I usually like take this guy, the yellow rib from Mud Tools, and I give it a nice kind of smooth finish. And then, you know, you're not supposed to use a metal tool or a needle tool to cut these. Fix the center here. So I usually like decide where it's going to get cut. And then I just get rid of the extra. Now you can do this on a banding wheel. It doesn't come out quite as smooth usually, but you can. I've done it, like I did an oval one, this is the last demo. I did that with the oval hump mold on the banding wheel, just patted and smoothed with the grip. So you don't have to do it on the wheel. Then I leave this outside to kind of firm up, and then I remove it from the hump, put it on a bat overnight, kind of get it to dry up a little before I'm adding to it, because I don't want the weight of the added coils to like make the shape change.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You
So
put it
demo
right,
that.
you put it right side up or upside down when you.
I lift it off here and put it upside down to try to keep my circular form. Okay, and also I check like that I have like a nice 1/4 inch thick edge here to add coils to. Any questions? Okay. All right, so I'll clean that up after. Yeah.
Is always, I'm hearing that you have to have all your clay the same dryness to add them to each other.
When I get to adding, I'll explain what I usually do. If if this is, if I let this dry, but not completely, and then usually what I'll do is I'll lie it on, upside down on a bat, and I just spray the bat around it so that this edge stays wet, and then I let the top firm up,
Okay.
and then I bag the whole thing.
Okay, but then it may take few times for me.
Right.
I do little bit, a step here, a step there, a step there.
Yes.
So you can do this on every step.
Yes, yes, and actually, as you add the coils, you wanna wrap the whole thing every night so that you get more equalization of moisture in the whole pot. So you don't have like dry pot, wet coil, and then try to add another wet coil. You want everything to get equal to the point you've worked.
Do you spray?
Do I spray? It depends. I usually like take a sponge and wet the top because I want that to stay really wet because that's gonna get added to, and then I don't do too much of the rest. I just wrap it up. So you're like building a pot day by day, or well, coil by coil, and the bottom is drying and the top is staying wet.
And you're a professional. How long it takes you to do this?
To make one of these?
Yeah.
Oh, half hour.
I wanna estimate it
No,
for myself.
I don't know. It depends how big it is, but usually like a week. You know, a week of coming, a couple hours every day. Yeah. So, but it depends. I mean, if I'm really like in the zone, I could do it in a day, but, you know.
Wow.
But it's just, you know, how many hours do you want to spend? How big do you want it to be? Does anyone want to put this outside? Oh, thank you.
Could you
That's
say
one.
that again?
So this is at the bottom, the thrown bottom, and then one coil added. Okay, so this afternoon I came in and I made some of these coils. So it's weird to call it a coil because it's flat, but that's what they are. So basically,
Oh, Robin, could I bother you again? Is there any way you could
I'm moving
switch a
over.
little over, because I don't know where else to put the camera.
So like Faye was asking, so those coils the same,
Yes, basically that yardstick that's hooked over there is what I use.
oh, you mean, no, but I mean, are they the same hardness as
Okay, so this is a little harder because it was made earlier. This is pretty soft. These were made at like 3 o'clock today.
That looks so bigger than a quarter inch.
That is a 1/4 inch setting on there, and this is a 1/4 inch setting, but I haven't completely compressed those, so I have a little.
It's
I know,
not accurate.
it's-
I mean, is it smaller or?
No, but
like-
if you're consistent, that's all that
That's
counts.
it.
Right?
Yeah, supposed to be the same.
It might not, it's bigger than a 1/4 inch. So, I'm compressing these coils a little. I also want to get off the canvas more.
And how wide are they?
They are the size of a yardstick.
Very scientific.
Yeah, very scientific.
And do you compress it to get air out of it?
No, I compress it to kind of make it stronger because the molecules will then be all aligned, and I also want to take off this canvas texture.
Is it premix?
It's beautiful, yes. Okay, so. So the prep for the coil is the most important thing, rather than like the attaching. So, I'll show you mine. So, I have scratched this top edge, and I've scratched this inside edge. Okay? And now, I'm gonna extrude with this mini extruder, and we have these over there, a tiny coil, and I'll show you what I do. And you don't have to do it with this. I could cut one, cut a teeny coil, but this is like faster and easier for me. So I stuff this thing in here. I'm nervous. I usually do this. Okay.
Are you nervous in front of us?
We're so appreciative.
Whatever are you thinking?
Yeah, I think that's
So, well, you're better than high school students.
Oh, I don't
Used to
know.
make me- Okay, so I stuffed this up with clay, and it's pretty soft, otherwise it's really hard to push. And this is the only hard part. I extrude, which just doesn't want to come in, here it goes, a mini coil.
Can you lift up so you can see how big it is? Oh.
Okay, and we have like 3 or 4 of these in the cabinet, if you didn't know.
Oh, we do have it?
Yeah, we have these. And I use it constantly. I don't know when I decided it was easier than rolling a coil that small, but it is.
It's even.
And it's even, yes. Okay, I don't usually work on plastic, so this may be a little crazy. Maybe I'll get rid of the plastic. I'm sorry, my back's to the camera. I'm just gonna. Okay, so. Then I flatten it out into, and it's even because it started even, you know, like, the only other way to do this is to roll like a really thin slab and then cut strips, which sometimes I do. I alternate between both ways. And I need another one.
So about how thick is that now?
Now it's about, it's less than, it's like an 1/8.
What is it?
About an 1/8.
Oh.
It's about half as skinny as it started. Maybe skinnier. So I'm gonna roll, I don't know if this was enough to put in here. Roll another one. You notice I sort of hold one end up because if they stick to the canvas, they're really hard to get up again. And plus I'm sort of stretching at the same time. So I think that's gonna reach all the way around. So then, I scratch these. And you can, I'm doing like one at a time, but you can sort of get a production line going. Like you can make multiple flat coils at once and multiple of these at once, and then you could probably add like 3 or 4 coils in the time I'm adding one, but it's better to show you the steps one at a time. So these are scored in both directions. You kind of want to break, so you got to be a little gentle. And the Greeks, if you look in the Greek pots, they do a much bigger, heavier flat coil on the inside. It's smaller than this, but it's not as tiny as mine. And
What do you need, Robin?
I have a little paintbrush somewhere, which I have today.
I can get mine.
You can't get out.
No, anyway, yeah, get me a little one, because it's better than that. Okay, so, I'm gonna get this edge wet. Also at home, I have like saran wrap, long strips of it that I keep. And I put saran wrap on the edge and then wrap the whole thing, and that keeps this edge, just this top edge, staying pretty wet. Thank you. Okay. So now, I'm going in here with some slip. And this is, B-mix slip that I have accumulated. And then I'm bringing this in, and I sort of put it inside and then attach. And I kind of tack it in place first. And you want it to be up halfway. Does everybody get that? And continue.
So rather than having it after you put the coil.
Exactly.
It's ready. You're gonna receive the coil and be ready for it. Plus, while this is going on, I can get inside the pot, which after that thing is
Right.
on, it's harder. So now, I guess all of you have done coiling before, you know you have to support the outside of the pot when you do anything to the inside of the pot, so I just kind of, I'll show you, my back is to the camera. I just press with the wet rib and attach that to the inside of the pot, like that, all the way around. Making sure your hand's on the outside or you ruin the shape of the pot. Now, if you look at those Greek ones, they have like really big lumps inside. That's for strength. And if you were gonna make like a giant big pot, probably better to do a bigger one. But I kind of like light vases, so I've adapted it to this smaller coil. Okay, so it's attached on the inside. Now I have like a scratch surface here and a scratch surface here. So I need, okay, so I need two scratch surfaces on this, okay? So I scratch one edge, and I don't know if you were at my last demo, but I make these out of corks. It's three, what do you call these? Dull embroidery needles. And you slit the cork with a hacksaw. You fill it up with glue. And then you stick the needles in however many you want. I have ones with 4, I have ones with 6, but this is the one for this process. So then,
If you leave them in the packet,
yeah, you get the right distance.
then
I also sometimes, this
when
one's
you put them in there, they're
pretty close up. I sometimes go around with duct tape, so they stay in there really tight. Anyway,
Good old duct tape.
yeah. So, this is good because I can get the right width of what I want. Okay, so now you have to stand it on end, and I usually prop it up with a couple of things. This. And I scratch this edge. Can you see that? Well, I'll get down here, you'll see. And this, you can't really go straight down for some reason. You want an angle one way and then an angle back.
So you're scratching the top of the strip as well as the side?
Yes. The two places that are gonna join those two places.
it will be the bottom.
Okay? And then this has lost some of its scratchy, so I might go back around, make sure this is nice and scratched up. Okay, and then I go in there with my slip. And then I bring this guy up and I put him right there. Okay, I'm short, so that's why I have an extra. I get her on there, nice and straight. And another piece I made. Thank you. So, make an extra piece here. Scratch the edge of that. Now, you don't have to do it like, this is just because that ruler exists, but I have done it with ones about, you know, like that wide too. So they don't stand up as well. The bigger they are, the more floppy they are, but you can do it. And if I want to make something like much taller or bigger, like I made a floor vase, too big for this scale, but about that high, I did bigger ones. Okay, so that's for that one. Put some more slippy in here. I'm gonna overlap this, and I'm gonna do that angle thing that I hope you know how to do it, but if you don't, go on a 45-degree angle through both coils. Take out the inside, take out the outside, line them up. And they're not lined up exactly, so I might fix this. Like I usually at least put something on the top to connect. That, and sometimes I'll put a baby coil like in here. So I know that connection is really good. I'm gonna do the same thing over here. 45-degree angle through both coils. Take out the inside, take out the outside.
How to do that when it was hanging wallpaper. I kid you not.
And put a baby coil on the seam, over the top, another one on the inside. Okay, now we have two things to do to connect. We have this inside, which is connected to the pot but not to the coil,
Okay.
and we have the outside, which I'll show you how to do that last. Okay, so now instead of going down, I'm going up with the rib. And I'm putting, I usually put a little downward pressure as well as inside pressure, like the top I want to connect well to that edge. So I'm pushing down and in and connecting that coil all the way through. Fix this thing. So what I like about this, which, you know, is that now we've almost got it looking like a pot. Instead of having to go like scraping and shaking and all of that. Okay, so it does have a slight rib in there, like the ones from Greece, and that's okay. I mean, sometimes I'll get really compulsive, especially if it's an open pot, and I'll like really take away a lot of that and not have any bump in there. Okay, so now my outside, I usually like realign things with the rib. If I see a spot that's up, I'll push it down. And now I'm gonna make another baby coil for the outside.
Inside seam is totally sealed.
Yes, inside seam is totally sealed. The outside seam has its moments, but it's aligned.
Yeah.
Let me see, part. Did I miss something inside? I haven't done outside yet. Okay, so now I go back and I make another one of these little things. Although sometimes I don't even bother with that. I just roll tiny coils, like even thinner than those. So I'll roll baby coil and flatten it out. And now I'm going to close this seam. Go this way. I'm going to close this seam, and what the Greeks do, which is how my friend taught me, is you sort of tack it in place, and then they use either a spoon or their finger, and they make these marks. You see that you saw in the pots that I showed you? So they're putting pressure, even pressure as they go around. I'm not doing it right, but so you could leave that on decoratively if you want. See, it's kind of pretty. Or you can smooth it in, like really tight, and get rid of it. And I sometimes, I usually smooth it in with a wet rib. And then I'll go like this and get rid of it completely. So this side is done, not the whole seam. Okay?
Can you spin the smooth side around so the camera can see it?
Yeah, there's the smooth side. It's not perfect yet. Okay, there's work to be done. I mean, I'm gonna smooth that in, smooth this in, and I'm gonna put coils all the way around, because this seam would open if you didn't secure it on the outside too. Okay? So, I don't know, it's a toss-up. Do you like round coils, do you like flat coils? I kinda got used to it, and It's pretty amazing.
I have a question, so when you have this gap here, you can't just rib it?
You
have to
can
coil
rib it, but you
Still have to
distort,
coil it.
you distort your flatness. I mean, I can go like this, in the way you would a round coil pot, you know, up on the inside, out, down on the outside, and all of that. You can do that, but I kinda like the security of having that extra coil on the outside. And if the Greeks figured it out 1500 BC, there must have been a reason.
And they shipped them on.
They shipped them on ships to Rome, right?
And they're still there.
And they're still there.
Yeah.
Right.
Olives all over the bottom of the airplane.
So, that's how I do it. Any questions?
You ever try curing olives in?
No.
One of your pots?
What happens when you get
And
to
in
the?
fact,
Because there are a lot of olive trees around.
in the port of Rome, there's a mountain, I can't think what its name is. I can't remember. But anyway, that is not a natural mountain, it is just Sephora and olive pots that as they distributed them throughout of Italy, they put them into smaller containers and just threw those pots in a pile, and there's like a mountain. And then, yeah, in Rome, you can go see it. And, it's like, you know, stories and stories high of broken pots.
Oh, yeah, just ship it.
They don't, it wasn't worth shipping it back. These were like disposable.
Robin,
Yeah.
question. You said when you were over there that you make the bottom and the top of your pot.
Oh, yeah, I have the top. Oh, let me get you the top, I'll show
So
you.
same thing using the hump to do that?
I use the hump, but I usually cut a hole. I'll show you the last two pieces that I made.
It's an easier way to make a planter.
I love the fact that it's not all perfectly smooth, you know, it's got a little bit of life in it.
And just the
Really
opposite.
authentic.
Absolutely smooth.
Oh, really? Oh, sure.
Yes.
So, she's got the top.
Yes.
Same way, you can.
And I usually make all my parts like at the beginning, so everything stays sort of the same size. So this is, the top, which will eventually go on here. I don't want to touch it because it's sort of wet. And then this, I drew a neck the same day. So this neck is gonna go on that. And that's gonna assemble into a vase.
We're just saying that we just love
So it's fun. I think it's easier than coils, round coils.
I have a
And
question.
I don't know if you've watched, I think it's Carol, there's quite a few people who do flat coils here. And they do them in, you can do them irregularly. You could start with a square bottom, put a round coil on it, you can do it any way you want.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, can I move up here?
Yeah, come on.
So you're gonna, how many, you would do one more maybe?
Well, I have
In
ones
this
at home.
session?
Oh, you want me to do another
No,
one
no,
right
no.
now?
Like, if
Oh,
you were making
This
this,
today?
day one,
Yes.
you would do,
Okay, so I would probably do 2. If I wanted to do 3, I might hit the first 2 with a hairdryer.
okay. So
And-
you keep coming back for a week,
Yeah,
and then you keep getting higher.
yes,
But as you keep coming back, this is drying,
right,
and it's shrinking.
yes. But I don't get
How do you
cracking for some reason.
No, not cracking. How
Right.
do you compensate for funneling?
I don't know, I
Oh,
I never
so
had a
The camera
problem.
can see.
All right,
I never
all right,
had a
all right,
problem
all right.
with it funneling.
No,
I
you're
don't
fine.
get
You
it
understand what I
super,
mean?
yeah, but as I don't get this super dry. Feel this, it's not
So it
leather
doesn't
hard.
shrink enough
It doesn't shrink enough
that you have to compensate.
that I have to compensate.
Right.
And, occasionally it doesn't look right. I use a level a lot. Before I put the
Yeah.
next one on, I put a level on, make sure it's even. I also will take this isn't a good one though, but I'll take a rounded bowl and I'll stick it in there and get myself back to round.
Yeah, I'm worried about circumference.
Well,
It seems it would shrink.
the bottom is not wet enough to shrink. You can feel it. It's not that wet. I mean, it's not that dry. And basically every night it's getting wrapped up, so so things, humidity and moisture is evening out.
Yeah,
Except for my top edge, which I want to stay wet.
spritz it down below.
I don't spritz it. I spritz the top. Sometimes I go like this on the top before I leave it. I'll like leave it really wet on the top, and then I'll wrap it.
okay, so that's not an issue.
So that could still be attached to. Tomorrow I have to do some work on this thing, but anyway. That's the story. Any questions?
So is that the made it from a coil? No.
Yes, this
It is.
I threw the bottom, you can see where, I can usually see them. Okay, so I threw the bottom down here, then there's like 1, 2 coils, and then I put the top on.
Tell us about the flowers, please.
Oh, well, I did a demo on that the last time.
Oh, I missed it. I'll go back and watch it on the,
I carved a linoleum and I pressed it into clay to make the flowers, or the dishes, or whatever else I
So
did.
I just wanted to ask you if you had decided that you wanted a little bit more decoration.
Right.
You could have put a bigger coil.
I could put a bigger coil, I could put a big coil and also like do, impress it with stamps or whatever.
Yeah.
Make it have bands that are
So,
pretty.
and the top was on the same mold as the bottom?
Yes, but
But
you don't
short.
have to.
Oh,
You don't have to. I mean, you could have it go in and have a
Oh.
small top. I've done that. I've also, thrown like a jar with a lid for the top. So it becomes a closed form. Instead of just a neck. Sometimes I just put a little coil on the top. That's, B-mix. That's just biscuit. That hasn't,
No, Robin,
it's not fully cured.
it
It'll be
seems to
whiter.
me you're so good with the throwing too.
Well, I studied throwing in Japan in 1972, when I was 17 years old. I was an apprentice to a Japanese potter. So I've been throwing for 50-something years, 52 years.
Then what?
But my back is not, and I have arthritis in this hand. And my back cannot stay over the wheel for very long. Plus, I taught high school ceramics, where I bent down over the kids' wheels every day for 15 years. So,
so hard.
But other than that,
yeah, right.
other than that, she's good, she can do it
Yeah,
in
she's
5
great.
seconds.
So about, I would say,
Oh, that's nice.
6 or 7 years ago, I said, I can't do this anymore. I mean, I'd have to get up like every hour and stretch, and I still was in pain. So I said, I've got a hand build, and I actually like it better. I mean, it's where I am right now. That's, and you have to think, this is what my Japanese teacher's son said to me. You have to think of all these things that you know how to do, like the wheel or the making sleds or whatever, as just tools. The wheel is just a tool, okay? It's not like, oh God, I can throw, so, I am blessed. It's just a tool that you can use in lots of different ways. And I just use it to the degree that I'm comfortable with and that I can do. And, all the pieces come together. This is what I'm doing right now. It could change like next year.
Yeah, I was thinking because you're good at throwing, I was thinking why you go through so much hardship.
Right.
It's not hardship to me. Also, once I retired, which happened in 2010, I wanted to slow it down.
right.
Okay, I can't explain. And hand building is like about the process and not the product. And so to me, it's not how many pots I make anymore. It's more of like that I'm in the studio doing what I love. So the slow down thing is good with hand building. You slowed it down, you can relax and enjoy it. If someone wants it afterwards, so much the better, but otherwise I'll just make another one.